Hello and good morning to all joining us via Zoom and our Facebook live stream. Welcome to the Center for Enlightenment's exploration of the spiritual teachings, Jewels from Jane Elizabeth. Each Sunday will be a free-flowing adventure with teachings by Jane Elizabeth Hart, facilitated by certified Center for Enlightenment teachers. Today we'll continue working from the self-study lesson found on our website at cfenlightenment.org. Today's self-study lesson titled Journaling. Our topic is Overcoming Your Resistance to Journaling. Greg Barrett will be the facilitator for this lesson. Greg is a certified teacher for the Center for Enlightenment and longtime student of Jane Hart, studying with her for over 30 years. Jane is the author of Spiritual Power Tools, Support for Your Soul, master teacher and founder of the Center for Enlightenment. Today's course will be live streamed via Facebook. A recording will be sent out with the weekly reflections so you can access it anytime. For those new to this format, your chat icon is located at the bottom of your screen. Just click to view. If you have any technical questions, please reach out to the host or co-host via the chat room. In addition to the Sunday courses, there will be a question and answer discussion on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. A link for these sessions will also be posted in the chat room. If you're in need of prayer support, please contact us at cfenlightenment.org or just type centerforenlightenment.com. We are active on Facebook and Twitter. Come check us out, share your thoughts, reflections, and experiences. It would also be a great support to like the postings that resonate with you. We also invite you to visit our website at cfenlightenment.org. There you will find additional self-study lessons, talks, videos, where you can search for specific topics to support your expansion in consciousness. So let's just sit back, take a deep breath. We begin today's journey with the prescription for spiritual alignment.
Welcome. This is your time, so let's take this time together to touch in and become aware of the essence of our being. We are aligned with the presence of God within. We are protected by God's love, wisdom, knowledge, and grace. The God consciousness within helps us discover more about who we are. Thank you, God, for the gift of spiritual intuition. Thank you, God, for aligning our conscious, subconscious, and superconscious mind. In the presence of pure being, we say thank you. Amen. Well, last week we promised that we'd finish up the 5 questions, the 5 journaling questions that are found in the Spiritual Power Tools book. And they're found on page 40 in the journaling chapter. And I want to encourage you to use these 5 questions. If you don't have a copy of the book, you can download it for free. It's at the website, centerforenlightenment.com. And just use these 5 questions as a focus for your journaling time. You know, journaling can be intimidating, and we're going to talk about the resistance that comes up naturally when we want to journal. But one of the intimidating factors of journaling is that we just might feel overwhelmed by it or not know where to start or how to start. There's just a blank piece of paper and we got a pen in our hand and we've got emotions, or maybe we don't have emotions, but it just seems like it's just too much and we'd rather just go watch a video. Well, the beauty of the 5 journaling questions is that you can just use them as a template. There's not a rigid method, but a template that you can use to stay focused. And I've had spiritual friends who, including myself, have been very resistant to journaling and kind of put it off and push it off and suppress it in some way, repress that journaling practice. On the other hand, on the other extreme, I've had spiritual friends. I'm not so much in this category, but I've known people who find that they just go on and on and on with their journaling and it doesn't really have any focus, and they feel intimidated by starting journaling. because it just seems to be never ending. So those are two extremes. You might not relate with one or the other, but the beauty of the 5 journaling questions is that it gets you right down the middle. And what it does is it provides a focus for your journaling without being rigid about it, that gets you started so that you don't feel intimidated by it. So you're not stuck, so that you're not feeling like, oh my gosh, if I start, this will go on forever. The good news with the journaling questions is that they provide an end of the thread that you can pull on, and it'll pull whatever you need to experience in your consciousness along with it. So hopefully you've had some experience with these 5 journaling questions this week. We talked about them last week, and I again encourage you to use them. They're on page 40 in the Spiritual Power Tools. And the 5 questions, just to review the first 3, because we went through those last week, are: what emotion am I feeling right now? The second one is: what or who pushed my buttons that caused those emotions? The third one is there a repeating pattern? Does this always happen to me? The fourth one is: what is my soul trying to show me here? What's my soul trying to tell me? And the fifth one is: if my soul was in charge rather than my ego, if my soul were running things rather than my ego, how might I handle this situation or see this situation differently? And by just using these 5 questions, you'll find that you'll have incredible insights. And we also want to encourage you to use the 7 steps for successful life transitions, which are also found in the Spiritual Power Tools, when you have a deeper, more stuck problem. But you can really get a lot of work done with these five questions. So today we're going to talk about the last 2 questions. Last week in the video, Jane talked about the first 3, and we discussed those as well. What am I feeling? What's going on that's causing my feeling, pushing my buttons? And the third one is this a pattern in my life? Does this always happen to me? The fourth one is: what is my soul trying to show me here? What is my soul trying to tell me here? And you'll find that once you take the lid off, once you release the agitation and the feelings and the false beliefs that are released through the first 3 questions, then you find that your soul is uncovered and you're able to access some real soul guidance. What is my soul trying to show me here? What is my soul trying to tell me here? And sometimes, quite often, when I journal, my soul is trying to show me, just chill, just leave it alone. It isn't that you're supposed to always expect some deep and profound truth, although that may often happen. It's just to uncover what your soul is revealing for you. And then the next question is: if my soul were running things and not my ego, my soul were in charge, not my ego, how would I see this differently? How would I look at it? How would I handle it differently? And once you have done the first 3 steps and uncovered and released that energy that's covering up the soul guidance, you find that your soul will reveal to you what you really need to understand. But this must be practiced. And as you're doing this work, you find that you're releasing agitation, you're releasing those repressed feelings and those false beliefs that generate those repressed feelings. It's almost as if in a top-loading washing machine in the spin cycle. Have you ever had an unbalanced load? And I don't know, most people nowadays have front loading, but I still have a top loading. And if the load gets unbalanced, it goes wham, 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 and it's very agitated. You got to go in and balance the load. And so by doing the first 3 questions, you're balancing your load. You're getting the energy back into balance. So begin to use your observer of self to balance your soul so that you can become aware of that soul essence that is guiding you at all times. Now think about that. Your soul is always guiding you. At all times, you're receiving soul whispers, guidance, letters from God, however you want to put it. But the static of all that agitation of the emotions and the beliefs and the pushing my buttons and the stuff from the past covers that over. So by beginning to use your inner observer of self, you are developing your ability and practicing, more important, your ability. More importantly, you're practicing your ability to get the guidance that you truly need to live your life from a higher place, from your higher self, not from your ego, from your soul, not from your lower self. And eventually, as you do this work, just allow your words to flow. Don't judge them, because you will eventually be guided to where you need to go. Just start. These 5 questions plus the 7 steps are the best way to develop your observer self. Your observer self is always there, but you really hone your observer self by doing your journaling. And it's also crucial to meditate every day. Meditation is the way that you energize with the power and light of your higher self to clean out and clear out all of the gunk that accumulates in your consciousness. Your observer self then takes that energy that is coming in from your meditation and uses it to help you to unfold your awareness and to get the guidance that you need. You are becoming more conscious and more aware each and every day you do this practice. And when you start doing it, you find something out that is wonderful. Everything in your life has a purpose. Everything in your life, every little detail has a spiritual purpose in your life. And you can use even every insignificant thing. You can use every small interaction, every little emotion, every big thing as well. But even the things that you just think, oh my gosh, why did this happen to me? You can then turn it into the question, what is my soul trying to tell me right now through this? What's my soul showing me? What's the guidance here? Jane says that the guidance comes from a higher awareness. And in the video we're going to watch, she talks about this guidance coming from God, from your out-of-body teachers, from your masters, from your higher self. Because all of these that I just mentioned are really one in the higher dimension. Now, that's a challenging concept because we think of all of these things as discrete and separate. But when you get into the higher awareness, God and the masters and your out-of-body teacher and your higher self all are one, because there is only oneness in this higher awareness. And from the lower consciousness where we're asking for the help, sometimes we've got to really punch through and surrender and ask for the help. Just say, I am listening. I am surrendering. Show me. I want to know. And then if you put your pen to paper, and especially, and even if you don't want to, you'll find that things start coming forth. You'll get the guidance that you're asking for, even if it seems so far away at the beginning. Jane says that it seemed like a waste of her time at first. She was sitting there with her pen and her paper. She'd gotten guidance to do this journaling business, and she just didn't know where to start. And one of the things that she had to fight in terms of the resistance that she had was the feeling of boredom. Wow, this isn't what the spiritual path was supposed to be. I saw those spiritual movies. I saw the Song of Bernadette and the light coming down and the angels choir singing and all the wonderful things. And that's what I thought my spirituality was. You expect me to sit here and write the stuff and write questions and ask for answers? That's just not very exciting. And she also found that there was a feeling of being put upon, a feeling of, I have to do that? Why? Shouldn't I just be lifted up into some kind of cosmic awareness? What this means is that you've got to face your ego and you've got to work through that ego resistance. And your ego will resist over and over and over again. So this is about overcoming the resistance to journaling. And what you're doing when you're journaling is you're getting in touch with your real feelings. And what should you do when you realize those feelings? You start to feel them and they're uncomfortable, but realize that they're only a part of who you are and that there's more there. And that if you release this level of feeling that's uncomfortable, there's going to be a vast, deeper awareness, a spaciousness in which there is joy and peace and harmony. But you can only experience that if you will look at the patterns and the themes that lead you into a clear understanding of these deep feelings. And the way to overcome the resistance to journaling is to realize that every time you feel it, that means you got something to journal. Anytime you feel resistance, you think, oh, I'll just do this in my head, or I can just kind of put white light on it and let it go. Know that that's the time to get out your pen, to get out your paper, and do your journaling. It means that your limited self doesn't want you to see something that's hiding there, something that it wants to hide from you. So the key to the resistance and overcoming that resistance is starting. Just start. Like the Nike ads say, just do it. Just put pen to paper. And using the 5 questions moves you out of the intimidating factor of journaling into I'm just going to answer these questions. If you can get yourself to start journaling, you find that the resistance dissolves quickly, a lot faster than you ever could have realized. The parts that are unhealed, that are there stuck in your subconscious mind, do want to be healed deeply. They are coming forth into your being from the depths of your being to be healed. And journaling is your great tool in that healing process. Now, of course, your ego will fight this and it'll come up with excuses. It'll tell you things like, well, I'll just do my forgiveness work in my head. I don't have to journal all this stuff out. I don't have to journal this situation to understand it. I'll do it later. Now, that's the one where you're saying to yourself, oh, I can do this journaling later, and you never do because it's just an avoidance. Or you can say, well, I did this journaling before. There's nothing else I really need to do here. You got to a deeper layer or level, and you're peeling the layers away, and you're finding a new level to release. And so there's no better way to get in touch with the hidden information, the hidden awareness that is trapped within your subconscious mind than journaling. And journaling really means facing the resistance and asking yourself, what is it that's keeping me from journaling right now? What is it that I'm hiding from myself? What is it that I really don't want to see? Now, one of the things that does come up in journaling is that we find ourselves repeating certain things in our journaling patterns. The truth is that you might have a particular person in your life or a situation, and you find that over and over again, you are in a situation of journaling the same patterns over and over and over again. And in doing this, you ask yourself, well, I did this before. How can I uh, end this pattern of journaling all the time? Well, the truth is that even though you may feel closure on a particular topic or a particular subject after journaling, you may have to come back to it again a month later, a year later, a decade later. And it's okay if you have to come back to your journaling. Realize that this is a practice, this is a process, and realize that you're just going to do the work until you need to let it go. And it's part of the pattern of your soul's unfoldment and your soul's evolution to let go of whatever it is that's come up for you. So here we are. We're using our observer self to watch our ego and its resistance. I'm going to say that again. We're using our observer self to watch the ego and its resistance. And this ego wants to resist, oh my gosh, it wants to throw up every kind of barrier. It doesn't want to surrender. And Jane used to say to it, I know who it is that wants to get in charge of the situation. One time I just said, I'm evicting my ego from my house and I'm taking residence in my whole self. That was an image that helped me. But embrace that you're going to have a fight with your limited self. Embrace that your ego will not want you to journal. And the spiritual path, the real spiritual path, doesn't look very exciting to the ego. It doesn't give the ego any cookies or any feeding. The ego wants to have some kind of grandiose experience so that it can feel superior to other people. And real spirituality may well look boring to the ego. I've looked at situations in my life and realized that my ego was trying to disrupt the flow of my guidance by minimizing the importance of doing this work. But by resisting it, I found that I was only increasing the struggle that was going on and making it worse. The answer is to let go and to surrender and not to pick at it. Jane talked about in the video that we're going to watch, don't pick at it. That she noticed that she was mulling it over and ruminating in her mind about it. Instead, just accept. Ask for help and then accept that help in the form that it comes, not according to your own image and likeness of what you think it should be. And take it one step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time. This is all going to come forth in you on its own terms, not your ego's. And you can see how your ego will even try to take over your spiritual journey. Jane calls this the spiritual ego. And she said, once I dismantled my Jane ego, my personality self, I found that my spiritual ego became inflated. Your heart is committed to your spiritual journey, but your ego just wants to stay on its throne. Your spiritual ego wants to make itself important using your spiritual practices. And here we are going to dethrone this ego. Here we're going to let go of this limited self taking the form of false spirituality. It's the one that says, well, I'm better than most people because of this. Oh, I can read auras, or I know my past lives, or, oh, I meditate and I'm better than everyone else. You know, we all have neighbors, and I got neighbors who spout conspiracy theories or do this or do that. But the minute I get into that attitude of, well, I'm better than they are, I'm trapping myself. Don't get trapped in the spiritual ego. Realize that everyone is an evolving soul and that everyone's expressions are part of your expression. And wherever anyone else in your life may be, you were there at one time, if not in this lifetime, then in another lifetime. And you just keep uncovering and releasing and uncovering and releasing and coming to greater and greater realizations until you uncover your real self, the truth of you, the I am, the I am that I am, the capital I, which is within you, which is your real identity. The video that we're going to watch will help you to take these steps because there's an energy in it that wakens in you that I am presence. Your I am presence is being born in you this day. Your higher self is pushing out into expression and you're uncovering it using your journaling, your 5 journaling questions, doing the 7 steps, meditating every day, being in your observer self. And you had the evolution of your soul for eons of time. And now you've reached that point in your soul awareness where the evolution of your soul is turning inward and becoming the involution of your soul. This is all being uncovered slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. And you have the strength to do this. You are not weak. You are not less than. You are strong in spirit, but you have to ask for help. You may feel weary at times. In fact, I was journaling a couple days ago. I am so weary of my intellectual mind. And I just realized it's another opportunity for me to let it go. You're uncovering all of these things so that you can become conscious of them. You're moving out of the third dimensional consciousness into the fourth dimensional consciousness. You're moving out of your limited self into your unlimited self. You're moving from your ego to your soul, from your human to your God self. And one of the things that will come up is that even your understanding of God is going to surface and be released. And I know people say, well, my idea of God is sacred. Unfortunately, your idea of God is your own creation. Mark Twain said, God made man in his own image and likeness, and man returned the compliment. So we create an understanding of God, and it's understandable that we do. It's part of our development. But there is an understanding of God that is limiting you. And don't give up and be willing to release it. Your infinite self knows your heart. Your infinite self is coming and rushing towards you faster than you're reaching out and moving towards your infinite self. As part of this, you're going to experience being tested. And Jane says in the video, take it from me, you're going to be tested because your ego doesn't want you to do this. Because as you're moving forward, you are dismantling that ego. And the ego doesn't like it very much. And these are the steps that you are taking to move you forward. Journaling every day, meditating every day, and being supported by the vibration and the energy of God, of the infinite awareness. And a door is opening up in front of you right now. Just open that door and walk through it. And you do that by doing your practices, by being steady, one day at a time, one moment at a time, and being faithful and diligent in doing your meditation and your journaling and being in your observer self. And don't get distracted. There's so many things to distract us. Politics and the news. And I'm not saying bury your head in the sand. And I'm not saying that you should not care about anything. But I am saying that this work that you are doing in your soul is more important for this world than anything else that you could do. Nothing is as important for you or for humanity than this step that you are taking in your awakening. Now, in the video we're going to watch, there's a strong vibration that will come up and it will help you to awaken to the truth of your being. So, as you're listening to the video, let yourself move out of your mundane third dimensional self and be the observer of yourself and become aware. And as you move into this week, do the journaling, the 5 questions every day. Even if you don't feel anything, you're not aware of anything, just go through it. And you'll find that often you'll uncover hidden gems. You're going to look back on this time in your life as a formative time, a time when you really put your feet on the path that moved you into your infinite awareness, into God consciousness. And as you do this work, you are supported on your journey. Let's watch this video together.
Then, of course, I have, what is your soul trying to tell you? That was so important to me. What was my soul trying to tell me? And by journaling, I could journal what my soul was trying to tell me, and I got really, really good at it. At first, I was crappy at it. I will tell you, I was very crappy. I took things to the wrong answers and everything. But I began to learn. I began to use my talents and abilities that I had accrued from other lifetimes to pay attention to myself. I started being the observer of self. You know, I've talked to you a lot about being the observer of self. Oh man, did that ever help me in this process? And it continues to help you, so never give up your observer self, because that is the part of you that's always helping you to unfold, to become more conscious, more aware. And it's just not an accident. It has a purpose. Everything that's happening now, it has a purpose. I want to find out what that purpose is. What is my soul trying to tell me? What is God trying to tell me, or my teacher, or the masters, or whatever I want to call it? Help me, help me, help me. I surrender. I listen. I will journal. I will do this even though I don't want to journal. I will journal. I can remember sitting in my chair in my bedroom, and it was 1969, and I was trying to journal, and it was just like, this seems to be a waste of my time. It doesn't do anything. And yet I said, well, this is a direction I got to journal. It'll help you to understand yourself, was the message I got. And I had to fight the fact that this was boring. I wanted this journey to be much more exciting than this. I have to do all this work. For what? And why? The 1968 girl was very, very confused at why she needed to journal. But 45 years later, I'm going to tell you, man, I'm glad that I worked through that ego of mine that was resisting. And your ego is going to resist on this journey over and over again. And you have to have the observer watching the ego resist. I just told you something huge. And if you didn't get it, go back and get it. Listen to it again. The ego, the more you go into the soul of yourself, the more the ego that you're in this lifetime will have a hissy fit, because it doesn't want to surrender. Oh, once I figured that baby out, I thought, oh, I know who's trying to get in charge. Oh, my limited ego that doesn't know anything, because I know that I'm a lot less limited than that little limited ego thinks it is. And it thinks it knows all the answers when it doesn't. It does not. So, I think I talked to you just now about the ego. And to look at your ego and really, really embrace that you're going to have a fight with your limited self. You will have a fight with your limited self, and it will want to do its own thing. And you're going to have to put it down and put it away. My limited self didn't want me to journal. Don't journal. But this is boring. Who told me it was boring? My limited self. This is not exciting enough. Who told me that? My limited self. Who said, why give your karma to God? What difference does it make? My limited self told me that. Oh, another thing my limited self said, there's no such thing as karma. What's karma? Oh, I probably just dreamt up that I had a past life. Oh, I'm sure I maybe did, or maybe I didn't. But who told me that? My limited self. And I got in touch with that limited self of mine that was always trying to disrupt the flow. Disrupt the flow. Do you hear me? And I told you, for 2 months, I just struggled and struggled and struggled with the 1/10 conscious and 9/10 subconscious. And if I would have given up to begin with, I wouldn't have had to struggle for 2 months. I would have been much better off had I just surrendered and said, you show it to me at your will, at your time, I give it to you, and I'm not going to pick at it anymore. For 2 months I picked at it and finally gave up and got an answer. So when you're not getting an answer, ask yourself, who's trapping me? Was God trying to talk to me? My teacher trying to talk to me out of body? Of course. But I was too angry that it wasn't working out the way I wanted it to. So I fussed around with that. What a waste of 2 months. So look at where you are. Look at what you're doing. And look at how your ego trips in and takes over even your spiritual journey when your heart is in the spiritual journey, but the ego isn't. So the ego wants to keep its throne. And the thing is, you're going to dethrone your ego. And once it realizes it's getting dethroned, believe me, it is a fight for your life. It's the last I that must be destroyed. It must be destroyed, and you are the one that's going to destroy it. Believe me, trust me on this one. Now, you've only begun the journey, or maybe you've been on the journey for 10 years or 20 years. The ego is still available to trip you up. Maybe now you got a spiritual ego, and that's the worst kind. The spiritual ego that's gone to a certain place. Oh, I saw my past lives, so I must be really important. Oh, believe me, I had that little baby. I must be more important than most people because, I had the veil lifted, so wow. Whoa, I'm really, really brilliant. Oh, that was my ego that had to be destroyed. So once I destroyed the Jane ego, then I had to destroy my spiritual ego because it was failing to go on. Don't get entrapped in the goodies that the spiritual ego begins to provide for you and think that you're done, because you aren't. That ego has to be dismantled like anything else, and then you keep uncovering till you uncover your real self, the real I that is. And your ego, your spiritual ego, is an important part, but it gets destroyed too. So, giving you a lot to write about, a lot to think about, and a lot to go back to as your journey continues. Because the tape that I'm making right now, this video that you're looking at right now, should be put in your favorites, because this is going to help you at different points of your journey to remind yourself about your ego, about the karma, about journaling, about being the observer of self. Very, very important video I am making at this very moment in time and space. Because I'm talking to you, I'm talking to your ego, I'm talking to your God presence, and saying, get out of the way of this student. Move yourself over. Don't destroy this wonderful birth of the I Am presence within this soul. I want that soul to discover its whole self in God and God becomes man, so man can become God. Do you hear me? You had the evolution, and then you awaken in God, and then you become man to help others to become God themselves. Ponder on that one. Boy, when I heard that one way back, that I pondered on that for years and years and years and years and years. But it got uncovered slowly but surely. This journey isn't for the weak. It is not for the weak. It is for the strong of spirit. And when my little spirit got weak, some way I would say, I know I'm very weak right now, so help me to get stronger. Help me to continue on. I'm getting to a point where I'm weary. But I am not giving up. You are trying to show me something and I need to see it. Please help me. Please help me to understand my whole self. And I'm not going to get off the boat till I do. And when I get off that boat, I am in the oneness that I'm seeking. Because I'm already there. You're just uncovering it so that I become conscious of it. Do you hear that? You are uncovering it so that I become conscious of it. This is my purpose. This is the unfoldment of the God-realized being. Don't give up till you're there. And you will know when you've moved out of the third dimension into the higher realm of who the truth of you are. You will move out of being human forever and move into godness. But everything will be given away. Everything about you will be given away. Everything, you will surrender everything that you thought was precious. Even your idea of God and what God is like, and the masters and all that. Believe me, just go down the road. And all that will be revealed to you as you needed to be revealed. There was times I needed to believe that I had a master helping me. And I did. I honestly did have a master helping me. But then that master disappeared. And a new one came in. And it kept happening to me. Do not give up. When the going gets rough, you better get going. Because God listens to you and knows, does he really want to discover the I am presence within him? Or is this just a little game that he thinks will be fun to play this lifetime? Only you can answer that. And you will be tested. Take it from me, you will be tested. Every time you take a few steps forward, you will be tested on the knowledge you have received. Will it work? Is it the truth? Are you determined? Are you going to fall apart the first time the moment comes when you have to do something you don't want to do? Who doesn't want to do it? Your ego. So get ready just to give it up. I give up my ego. I give up any ego that appears to take me on my journey. I'm going to dismantle as I move forward. I will dismantle that which is mine to dismantle, and I will journal. Every year I would burn up my journals. Now I wish I kept some of them that would take me back to 1968, because that was very important. But I do remember what I put in that journal, and it was a bunch of baby steps, but it was steps forward. So I say to you today, keep this video. This is going to be an important video on your journey, because I'm coming on a vibration right now. I am in the God presence, talking to you, telling you that you are also God. And it's your opportunity to open that door wide and walk through. And the heck with all the problems of the world. Your problem is to become God realized. That is your problem. And the universe is pulling you to it. Keep this video. Keep it. Because I'm on a vibration right now to wake you up and to keep pushing you forward. So go back to it. The moment you start to feel like you're weak and that you don't have the strength to do it, turn this on. And remember, I was in 1968 just where you are, just trying to desperately understand what the heck was going on. I am sitting here today saying it's worth it. Don't get lost in the third dimensional world of cause and effect. Move on. Get off your duff. Be the observer of self. Do your journaling. Have the courage to keep moving forward. That's what it takes. And hopefully I can give you the energy to do that. So keep this video. Keep it. Put it on your iPad, your whatever, in a little corner and go back to it. Because in this video, I have told you a lot of things that you will uncover as you look back on this. Because I'm just opening up your I am presence within you. I'm pushing it, I'm opening it, and you will do the work. I can't do the work for you. I wish I could, but I can't. It would take away your own discovery of self. That is not fair. It would have taken away my discovery. I wish it would have been done. I prayed 1 billion times, please God, just wake me up right now. And I just got another thing to do. That's what happened. And you know what? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, infinite intelligence that created this wonderful process of realization. I love you on your journey. I support you on your journey. Keep this video. Bye-bye for now.
There's a lot of power, a lot of strength, a lot of vibration and energy supporting us as we move forward. And I want to encourage you to use the 5 journaling questions this week to every day uncover an aspect that leads you to the truth of your being. And your ego is going to resist this practice of journaling. You got to understand that as your journaling uncovers and reveals your observer self, your ego won't like it. And so you've got to face and work through that resistance. But the best way to face and work through it is just to put pen to paper and to do it. So I want to encourage you to do your practices, your meditation, your observer self, your forgiveness, and especially this week, your journaling. The Center for Enlightenment has a Thursday night question and answer support group that will support you on this journey. And so it's at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The chat room has a link. And also, it's found on the website. We also want to encourage you to take a look at supporting the Center for Enlightenment. It's entirely supported by your gifts, and you'll find that in the chat room and also on the website. So this week, we're going to practice journaling our 5 questions and seeing where that takes us. And I'm looking forward to talking to you about it on Thursday night, or see you next Sunday. Bye for now.